Hey everybody, welcome to Amy Nolte Music. You might think that the greatest comeback of the Olympics so far has been maybe Novak Djokovic beating Carlos Alcaraz for the men's title in tennis after he got crushed at Wimbledon. You might think that it's Noah Lyles coming back to become the fastest man on the planet right now after he didn't have such a great start and then he just motored through at the end to lean past everybody. That was a good comeback. But I'm going to make the case today that the most heartwarming, amazing, touching, beautiful comeback of the Olympics might just be Celine Dion's performance during the opening ceremonies of Hymne. Now, I watched as a masked ferryboat man took the torch through the catacombs, over the Louvre, I think. He went past the Seine and he saw the building exploding in the French colors with blue smoke and red smoke. And the Marie Antoinette holding her own head, and they're floating on the river. And we've got a performance of John Lennon's Imagine with the piano burning on fire, floating down the Seine. We've got Lady Gaga performing. We've got the torch being handed to a 100-year-old man in a wheelchair who won for cycling in the 1940s. We have the fact that the Olympics were last held in Paris in 1924, 100 years ago. And all of this is just kind of swelling up in me. And and there are those dancers on top of those poles on the bridge. Did you see that? So the whole thing, I'm just thinking, this is nuts. Who thought of this? Who's the director? I was actually thinking, who is the mother of the person that artistically directed this whole opening ceremonies? Because if I was her, I don't know what I would have been doing. Proud. I would have been proud. Because it's the human spirit, right? What kind of things are humans capable of? We're seeing them all right here. And then we see the boats come down the Seine. Big, long boats with countries of people who are so proud to be representing their country. All right. Then the torch lights the freaking hot air balloon right in front of the Louvre. And I'm thinking to myself, just that hot air balloon being lit up like that is gorgeous. And if it were to stay on the ground, that would be fine. I'm thinking if that thing took off into the air, I can't think of anything that would top it. So that thing took off into the air. It's rising up. The orchestra starts to play a song. The choir starts to sing. And I know the song. It's not coming to me immediately, but I'm sitting there watching with my son and my cousin, and I'm saying, I know this song. Camera pans back. Le ciel bleu sur nous peut s'effondrer. And what do we see but the Eiffel Tower, right? We see the Eiffel Tower and we start to hear a voice. And probably everybody knew that it was Celine Dion, probably everybody but me, because I had been hiding under some kind of a rock and nobody told me that Celine Dion was going to sing at the Olympics. And I'm kind of glad that it happened that way, because as it happened and we get that little bright white light on the first floor of the Eiffel Tower and I hear the voice and the orchestra swells, I think to myself, that sounds like Celine Dion. And as we pan in closer, it's Celine Dion. And I just finished watching that documentary all about her, all about the syndrome, the disease that she was diagnosed with 2 years ago. She had to cancel all of her tours. She had to quit doing the thing that she loves the most in the whole wide world, which is singing to the people who she loves and who absolutely adore her. Stiff person syndrome. She had no control, little control of her vocal cords. And you watch the documentary, you can see her try to sing and crack as she tries. So I'm watching her up on the freaking Eiffel Tower with the orchestra and the song that I now know to be Hymne. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, Celine Dion, don't falter. How do you have the courage to do this? How can you stand there with your arm outstretched in the pouring rain with a pianist next to you, a Steinway piano that's just soaked, and command that performance for the entire world, and to hear the audience just erupting as she sang at different points in the performance. Ooh, I'm just like, it got me, you guys. It got me like nothing else has gotten me in a long time, and it reminded me of why I have to do music for my whole life. It's because of moments like that. And it was everything, you know? I mean, it was the tumult in the world. It was the feeling of everybody unified behind one singer who I don't think one person on the planet hates, a singer who sings in French, and a song that feels so special. And I wanted to know why this song felt so special. What was important about it? And to me, I knew the song as If You Love Me, Really Love Me, because that's how it was recorded in English. Brenda Lee had a famous version. But I also know that I knew that it originally was sung in French, and so I immediately looked up the English translation of those French lyrics, and I read it. Like during the very last part of the song, I was starting to read because I wanted to know what she was saying, and I wanted to know why they chose this hymn, this song, to be sung at the Olympics. I did a little research, and although I was touched learning the facts about the song, please forgive me if I butcher any French words, but it was written by Marguerite Manot and Edith Piaf in 1949. I learned that in 1947, Piaf fell in love with French boxing champion Marcel Cerdan, and I learned that he passed away in 1949. He was on an airplane on his way to visit her. And I learned that about 6 months later, she recorded this song for him, that she had written for him. She always said that he was the love of her life, so that's very touching, right? But why a song about one's dead lover at the Olympics? I had my own ideas, but I wanted to be a little bit careful about this. So I'd like to thank my Instagram friends from France right now that responded to a little query of mine. And I asked them, what made this song so important? Why is it important to French people, and why did they choose it for the Olympics? This comes from a friend of mine, Charles Albert. He says, I conducted a small survey among people I know, and these were the most common responses I received. Firstly, it's a song by Piaf, who is the quintessential Parisian singer. While she may be seen as French globally, to the French, she is distinctly Parisian. She began her career singing in the Paris subway and has a typically Parisian accent. They likely avoided choosing La Vie en Rose, as it would have been too obvious, but that was another one of her great hits. Finally, I believe it fits well with Paris's image as the city of love. This is a significant aspect of the city's global identity. I think that's largely it. So I think that Edith Piaf, at her 4 feet 8 inches, commanded the world in a way that is special. America loved her, not at first, I don't think, but she appeared 8 times on the Ed Sullivan Show. She did get her start singing in the streets of Paris. She had a mother who abandoned her at birth. She was raised in her grandmother's brothel. She sang on the streets with her father. She married, got pregnant at 17, and lost her daughter at 2 years old. So in a way, I want to say that Celine Dion's comeback was not the only comeback represented here. Edith Piaf had her own comeback because she struggled. And she finally made a name for herself, recording La Vie en Rose, carrying the country through World War II. She performed for French troops. I think she was even instrumental in maybe getting some French prisoners of war released. Then to have her lover be killed in a tragic plane accident and to still record a song about it. Now, this song's been performed hundreds of times. Celine Dion has performed this song many times. I don't think it's ever been recorded to my knowledge. But think about Piaf's comeback. Think about Dion, who lost the love of her life, right? She's lamenting that still for sure. She's raising her 2 boys all on her own. So for her to hold it together like that, the way that she did, knowing what's going on in the world right now, knowing how she can unify everybody for a moment, knowing who she lost, knowing who Piaf lost, and also knowing that she's just standing above the city of love, the city of romance, the city where people fall in love, the city of so much beautiful art, so much beautiful music. It was it's just too much, you guys. I can't even imagine what it must have been like for her, but man, did she deliver. Maybe even in her heart was the remembrance that Piaf's lover was a boxer, right? Like, we're at the Olympics. Maybe in her memory was the fact that she did perform it after the attacks in Paris in 2015. There's a lot going on. I can't imagine being from France and watching this go down. And everybody on my Instagram that I asked about it had something profound to share with me. But let's talk about the song itself. This video is brought to you by Nebula. You can see an extended version of this video where I'll play my own arrangement of this song on the piano and go into it a little bit more in depth than I will on this video on YouTube, but more about that at the end. Let's go over to the piano and check out what makes the song itself so epic. If we listen to Edith Piaf sing it, she'll be somewhere between E flat and E, so we're probably not going to play from that arrangement. Celine Dion sang it in F, and as you know, if I were to take clips from Celine Dion, I'd be given a copyright strike, so I'm not doing that, but I'll play it and I'll sing it the best that I can, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in E flat. Now, recently, I made a video on Instagram that talks about the first move that this song actually does. It's establishing the tonic, which in this case is E flat. Then it moves to G7. There are many songs that do that. Check out my Instagram video and you can hear me just talk about that move for a second. When you hear these two chords, one after another, what does it make you hear in your head? It could be a lot of things, because a lot of people have used the one chord going to the 5 of 6 for years and years. And it doesn't always go to the 6. Sometimes it might go to the 4. Like, someday my prince will come. Chick Corea used it in da da bo da 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 La Fiesta. You might even hear something like, sleep pretty darling, do not cry. You might hear, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Right? And you might hear, I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo. And you might hear, I don't practice Santeria, I ain't got no crystal ball. Check it out, how just these two chords can take us across genres and across decades. Isn't that amazing? I missed some, I know I did. There are many. What do you hear when you hear those two chords? Yeah, so like I said, it's the 5 of 6. We're in E flat. We play an E flat scale. The 6th note is a C, and if we take the notes of E flat to the 6th degree, it's C minor. So G7 is the 5 of C minor. So if you're in the key of E flat and then you play a G7 chord, you pretty much think that you're going to go to C minor, and you do here. So it's a beautiful, heart-wrenching kind of move. I think it's one of my my best performing videos on Instagram ever, which means that these chords speak to people, and everybody in the comments is just saying what song that they can think of that does this, and there's so many songs. But this might be one of the most beautiful. Now, also, it's not just a straight G7. The bass note goes down to a D. So it's a G7 in second inversion, and it goes E flat to D to C. So it's a beautiful bass movement right off the bat. Now we go to the 2. And this motif is gorgeous. 5, 4, 3, right? We've got establishing the tonic, and then we're just doing an arpeggio on the G7. And then we land on the 3 of the C minor. We're going to go back to the 3 of the new chord, which is F minor. We're going to do the exact same thing. Ba ba da ba 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 ba. But now we're on the 3 of F minor, just like we were on the 3 of E flat. And all we're going to do is outline F minor 9 if we're getting picky. And then we're going to land on a chord tone of this B flat 7 chord. It doesn't sound like you should do it again, right? Like if we did it the first time, you just have to play it again. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to. It has to do something new now. And this is this is the meat of the lyric, because she's already said the blue sky over us can collapse on itself and the ground can cave in. Little matters. We take this E flat chord and we raise the 5th of it to be augmented. That really makes it feel like a hymn or a powerful song or a song about freedom or something, doesn't it? Little matters to me if you love me. I couldn't care less about the world. It is a lot like a hymn, isn't it? So many things about it do sound hymn-like. Then everything repeats. And then again, we're back to the original motif, to say, I will renounce my country, I will renounce my friends if you ask me to. One could really laugh at me. I will do anything if you ask me to. And, you might say to yourself, like, why do we need to hear all the things that she'll do for her lover? Why would she change her appearance? Why would she forsake her country? Why would she renounce her friends? You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of another performance during the opening ceremonies. It reminds me of... Some people have a problem with these lyrics. When it says, imagine there's no country, it isn't hard to do, nothing to kill or die for, right? And no religion too. If everybody believes the same thing and everybody loves each other, then we've got no conflict anymore. And I think, I don't know, it feels the same to me in some way to say that all of the other things in the world can go away because the only thing that matters is her love. And to me, when Celine Dion sang this, the only thing that mattered was that we're all human, we're all gathered, we're all united for 16 days, and she's just reminding us about love in the city of love. Don't forget that you can see the extended version if you sign up for Nebula. Nebula is a streaming service for thoughtful content that goes deep. It's where you can find my full-length classes. Everything I know about chords part 1, everything I know about chords part 2, how to create meaningful motifs for jazz improvisation, and my brand new interview series called Quarter Notes with Amy, where I've interviewed Larry Goldings in my first episode and Dennis Ham of Thundercat in my second episode. A very exciting one's coming up soon, but I can't tell you about it. But all you have to do is click the code that you see on the screen here, and you can get everything that I've talked about. All my videos that are normally on YouTube, but a lot of them are extended versions. You get bonus videos that you'll never see on YouTube. Plus, you get these full-length classes that are beautifully produced. Nebula is also a place with no ads. No ads ever. I'll also put my videos there first oftentimes a week before you'll even see them on YouTube. And you can watch other creators as well, creators that you know and love from YouTube already, like my friend Adam Neely, like my friend 12 Tone, like Charles Cornell. And Nebula is also producing great originals that are outside of music. So many categories of videos that are on Nebula. One of my favorites is the Nebula original series, Jet Lag, which is just a bunch of crazy people racing across different parts of the world, playing games, doing smart challenges, and making me laugh my butt off. You can get all of this for just about $2.50 per month, $30 for the year, or if you'd like, you can buy a $300 lifetime membership. You can also now get gift cards for your family. So say somebody in your family loves Nebula and they've already got it, you get them a gift card. All they have to do is just apply the balance of the gift card and they won't get charged the next year when the membership would renew. Thanks everybody for talking about the greatest Olympic comeback of the 2024 Olympics. Even if you think I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong, don't tell me. Keep it to yourself. I'll see you next time on Amy Nolte Music.